Hi y'all. This is the second video about finding rational zeros. In the first video, we learned the skill of how to list all the possible zeros. In this video, we're going to combine that skill with our previous knowledge of using synthetic division to factor, and then we're going to find all of the zeros for the function. So let's start with this example. F of x equals x cubed minus 5x squared plus 7x minus 35. So our goal is to factor this and then use our zero product property to solve for the zeros. And in this case, we actually could factor it. We could group it and factor, and we'd be able to find the possible zeros. But imagine you forget how to do that. So what we're going to start doing is we're going to list all the possible zeros. And recall, we'll do that by finding the factors of the constant term. In this case, it's plus or minus 1, plus or minus 5, plus or minus 7, and plus or minus 35. And the factors of the first term, or the leading coefficient, which in this case is plus or minus 1. Therefore, the possible list of zeros is going to be plus or minus 1, plus or minus 5, plus or minus 7, and plus or minus 35. So now what we've discovered is that from this list, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 possibilities of numbers that are zeros. So we're going to choose one of those values and imagine that it is a zero and test to see if it works. So let's choose positive 1 just as a test. So we're going to now use our synthetic division. So let's say choose a value and use synthetic division to test. And we're looking to see if when we use synthetic division, we end up with a zero remainder. So let's use 1. Our factors are 1, negative 5, 7, and negative 35. We drop the 1 down. 1 times 1 is 1. So that gives us negative 4. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. That gives us positive 3. 3 times 1 is 3. That means this is negative 32, not a 0. If it were a 0, that would be 0. So 1 is not going to be a solution. So now we're going to test another one. Let's test 5. I got a good feeling. 1, negative 5, 7, negative 35. The 1 drops down. Oops. 1 drops down there. 1 times 5 is 5. That gives me 0. 5 times 0 is 0. I add them, I get 7. And 5 times 7 is positive 35, which gives me 0. Because this equals 0, that means 5 is one of the factors of that trinomial. We also know that the other factors are going to be from this list. So this ends up being 7, and it's positive. This is 0x, also positive, and then this is the coefficient 1x squared. Okay? So we now have these two factors. We have x minus 5, and we have x squared plus 7. All that's still equal to our f of x. Our question, our original question, which I didn't even write up there, was to find the real zeros. So in this case, this is x minus 5 equals 0, because now we can use our zero product property. And x squared plus 7 equals 0. That's our zero product property. So x equals 5. And over here, x squared equals negative 7. Uh-oh. What happens when you square root a negative number? You get an imaginary number. So that is not a real 0. The only real 0 is x equals 5. Okay, why don't you try this example? The directions say to find the real zeros. So what that means is we're going to list the possible zeros. We're going to guess and test with synthetic division to find a 0. Then we're going to factor. We'll use our zero product property, and then we'll have all the zeros. Okay? Go ahead and pause it and see if you can do it by yourself. Okay, here is the worked solutions. So we were trying to find the real zeros. In order to do that, we needed to list all of the possibilities. So P is 18. So I listed all of the factors of 18. Q is 1. So I listed all the factors of 1. And then P divided by Q just ends up being all the factors of P, because anything divided by 1 is the same number. So I'm choosing from this list here. So this is my list of options. The first thing I tried was 3. I don't know why. It felt like it would work. It did not. So then I tried negative 3. And it did work. Recall that these values become the coefficients of the trinomial that's left over. So our first factor becomes x plus 3. That's because it's x minus negative 3 here. Then this is x squared, an x, and a plus. So this is my second trinomial, or my second factor. I can then factor that using general factoring. Factors of 6 that combine to give me 7 are negative 1 and negative 6. So those are my 3 factors. And then I use my zero product property in order to find the solutions. So this is my final answer. These are the real solutions, the real zeros for that polynomial. Okay, thanks.